Welcome back. We are on the 5-3 notes. I've already created 2 videos, so this will be the beginning of video number 3. So we are covering 5-3 slope-intercept form. We've already done a video for these 2 sections here, and I did a separate video for the graphing, and we're gonna start on the back. So let's get started. Okay, so let's read the directions first. That's always a great place to start. So it says, write an equation in slope-intercept form with a given slope that passes through the given point. You're like, what? So let me explain. This is asking you to create a formula, y equals mx plus b, for the given information. Now the information they give us is a point and a slope. So using this point and this slope, they'd like us to figure out and create a new line. So what we can do is check what kind of formulas we could use. So we have a slope formula, but we don't need a slope formula. We already have the slope. Well, Miss Miller, but I have a point and a slope. What formula could I possibly use for a point and a slope? Well, if we take a little gander over here at my poster, right there, you can see that there is a formula right here called point-slope formula. And that's the formula we're going to use, because when you're given a point and a slope, use the point-slope formula. Okay, so let's take a gander. Gosh, you get to see me super extra close. Okay, so here we go. So I need to create a linear function, and they give me a point and a slope. Let's write down the point-slope formula. You're like, oh, that looks like a lot of letters, Miss Miller. It is, but you can do it, I promise. Now let's look at the information that we have. We have a slope, we have our m. So we know that one will go right there. Now you're like, but what about this? Well, this is a point. And when we're looking up a point has an x and a y. Now this is the first point I see. Literally, it's the only point I see. So we have x to the power of 1, bloop, goes there. We have y to that little 1, goes there. Now let's rewrite it with all the ingredients in the formula. So we have y minus, let's see what we put there, a 7, equals 3, x minus, what's x1? 3. Wow, look at us. That's awesome. Now what we're going to do is, let me make sure this is the notes. Yes, it's the notes. Okay, let's check it. I panicked a little bit. We're going to have to simplify this a bit. How could we do that? Well, if I look at this side, it looks like we could distribute. What does distribute mean, Mrs. Miller? Distribute is a fancy way of multiplying, okay? So let's distribute this. So we have this 3, and we're going to multiply it by x. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 3 is 9, but make it a negative. And then we're going to write down y minus 7. Does that look like slope-intercept form? Let's look at slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form has a y by itself and mx plus b on the other side. Ooh, yeah, that y is not by itself. So we need to allow the y to be alone and move the 7. We move things by opposites. The opposite of a minus is to add. We're going to add 7 to both sides. Y equals 3x. Negative 9 plus 7. Well, if you use a number line and you're at negative 9 and you go to the right 7, you're going to be at negative 2. Cool. Let's give the next one a try. So we have a slope and a point, and we need to create a linear function. So let's write down our point-slope formula. Oh, shenanigans. Beautiful. Let's drop in the information. We know slope goes there. We have our x1 and y1. Remember, a point is always labeled x and then y. That guy's gonna go there, and that guy's gonna go right there. Now that's interesting. This is a very interesting situation. We have y minus, but we're placing in a negative. That's very interesting. Here we have negative half x. We're going to drop into 4. Now that formula has a negative. You're dropping into positive 4. Now it's a negative 4. Now what should we do? Definitely tackle this double negative. So now it's y plus 3. And over here we're going to have to distribute. Now don't panic. I know it's a fraction. You can do it. We have negative half times x. This is negative half x. Don't forget the negative like I just did. Now we have negative half times negative 4. Wow. Let's take that to the side. I have negative half times negative 4. Okay, let's do it piece by piece. What's a negative times a negative? Positive. Good job. What's half? I like to think of this as the word of. What's half of 4? 2. Lovely. Now, is the y isolated? Is the y by itself? Let's draw the line. Nope. Mr. 3's got to go. We're going to minus 3 on both sides. Y equals negative 1/2 x. 2 go back, 3 on the number line. Well, let's see. If you're at 2 and you go back 3, 1, 2, 3, you would be at negative 1. Cool. I hope you got it. Now, I would recommend you pause the video and try 18 on your own. It's a good question, but try it on your own. Give it a try. Don't make me do it for you. You try. So pause the video. You give that one a try. Cool. Welcome back. Now, instead of saying m, I just said slope. So just to get kids to realize that m and slope mean the same thing. So we have this bit of information. We have m is negative 5, and we have a point x and y. So we have a slope, we have a point, and we're creating a linear equation in slope-intercept form. Well, let's use the point-slope formula. So we're going to write down the formula. We're going to drop in the ingredients where they go. Oh, right there. Be careful with those double negatives, okay? The double negatives are the peachy part. So you already had a negative there, and you're dropping in another negative. Ooh. Be cautious. Now you're welcome to take care of the double negative right away if you want, if that's the way you're wired, your brain. I'm wired to see it, then tackle it. That's just me. That's the way I'm wired. So we're going to drop in a negative 5 here. I don't know why I had that there. That should be just a multiplication dot. And we have x minus 1. Cool. We have a double negative. So we have y plus 6 equals, let's distribute, negative 5x, let's distribute. Be careful. If you need to see it kind of away from the question so your brain has a chance, go for it. A negative times a negative is a positive. Nice. And 1 times 5 is 5. Nice. Are we done? Looks good, right? We're done, right? Are we done? No. Why? Why aren't we done? It's close, but we're not quite done. What do we still have to do? We have one last step. Isolate the variable of y. So we need to get the y guy alone. I did the opposite of plus 6, which is minus 6. I do it to both sides because whatever I do to one side, I do it to the other. Notice I didn't put negative 6 here. So here's the magic line. We got to do this on both sides. So that's not doing it to both sides. And I would only put it under the 5 because they're like terms. Negative 5x is not hanging out with a negative 6. If I'm an x, I'm hanging out with other x's. That makes them like terms. These are just constants. They're just regular old numbers. They hang out. So we have y equals negative 5x minus 1. Final answer. I'm going to end the video here. Come back for the very last video when we are given 2 points and then what to do. Bye. Thanks for coming.